So Elon Musk has just become the second richest guy in the world. So in order to commemorate that, I thought we would talk about something interesting. Why? Because sooner rather than later, and mark those words too, very much sooner rather than later, Elon's going to be talking about it too. Now, when Elon talks about this, I think a lot of people are going to be paying attention. Why? Because the dates that have been requested, the ones that are on record, these dates are a full 3 years before anything supposedly came up in public. That's right, 3 full years. And yet, well, when you look at certain things around it, yeah, those dates, they actually make sense. See, interestingly enough, people have been asking about this stuff for quite some time, telling him, hey, you need to put this on the record. And you know what? He wasn't willing to do it. I mean, sure, he'll tweet about things. He'll talk to the mainstream press about it, but he wouldn't go in. He wouldn't put things on records. He wouldn't provide any documentation. It's almost like the second richest man in the world. He's been utilizing all of that money to keep us from knowing something. So let's talk about what that might be. So hey there to all you wonderful folks. I hope you're having a fantastic, fantastic day, because today you and I, we are returning to that wonderful world of truth. And remember, truth, it defies Hollywood. Truth, it defies celebrity. And if I could ask you to do one thing, I would ask you to share this out. And also, while you're at it, check out the links in the description if you'd like to help the channel out, because you know, sometimes finding the truth, yeah, people, maybe they don't like that so much. Now, in order to accomplish what we need to do today, you and I were going to rewind all the way back to 2013. Why? Because we've been given narratives. We've been given quite a few of them, in fact, by two parties. We're going to call one party Rocket Man right here. You can see that in front of you. We're also going to call the other party AH. And we've been told by these folks that they had no involvement whatsoever in the past. And yet when you look at messages like this, well, you tell me. You can see that this is from 05/22/2016. This is supposed to be when they start to pick up things, but again, you look at this message chain, you tell me, and then, like I said, we'll go back to the past. So, this commences with AH saying, for such a smart man, I would think you wouldn't need to investigate any further than your last text to me before such radio silence commenced. Now, Rocket Man, when he continues, he showcases that they've had quite a few conversations. He notes, well, I'm just glad you're okay. You talked about Jay being, let's say, volatile in the past and still having keys to the apartment, so I thought something might have happened. Now, she responds with 3 things. You can see 2 of them in front of you. She says, it did, but that's irrelevant. I had the locks changed, and she says she's going to have a legal filing tomorrow. She's going to get the RO and all that. Now, Elon, he responds a couple of times before we get to the things in front of you here, saying, WTF, but you're okay, right? Is there anything I can do? I'm happy to engage 24/7 security for you if you'd like. It would be utterly confidential. AH, of course, replies, all of that is irrelevant to why I stopped talking to you. And then we get to this part here. Again, very telling stuff. I know, and the offer would stand even if you never wanted to see me again. Never wanted to see me again. Capture those words there. Anyway, sorry for being an idiot. The radio silence hurts a lot. It only matters because I really like you. I really like you. I never wanted to see me again. Yes. Now, stuff like that, combined with statements that you and I will look at in just a second, they really, really pique my interest as far as the subpoena goes, because I'm wondering exactly what will come out in that. So you have a quote-unquote official version. You know, the one that two parties love to tell and the media loves to loop onto, saying that these folks, they openly dated, for a year. The problem is that there's another tale out there, a tale of a quote-unquote man obsessed talking about Elon having a thing for a certain person that goes well back from then. Now, the way that this tale is relayed, in 2013, Elon Musk, he has a cameo appearance in Robert Rodriguez's film Machete Beverly Hills. Now, on that set, he kind of gets an obsession for a beautiful blonde actress. Those are not my words, by the way. This is just how it's relayed. The only thing about said actress is that they were seriously dating someone with a lot of clout at the time. You know, a little pirate actor by the initial J.D. Now, let me tell you beforehand, that cameo, it's nothing to really write home about, but you can go look it up on YouTube, and you'll notice one thing about it. Musk, he doesn't have any scenes with that specific actress, so he starts pestering Robert Rodriguez and other actors that are there to wrangle him up an introduction, saying he was just interested in her, quote-unquote, as a person. That's right, as a person. How many times have we heard something like that? Now, even this version of that story says that certain party rebuffed Elon Musk, because they were quote-unquote happy. But you know what? I get the feeling certain people don't believe that, and I base that on certain dates that have come up in requests. So you remember that thing that I said in the beginning, saying requests, they were coming up a full 3 years before any quote-unquote official date? Yeah, that's when these fall here. We're talking about requests between March 7th, 2013, March 15th, 2013, and these requests, they keep moving on until 2014 and on. Now, whether or not you believe that there was a rebuff in 2013, rumor has it that Elon Musk, he didn't give up that easily, and that he persisted in his pursuit of that specific actress, despite the fact that actress, they ended up married in 2015. And that's where things get, I don't know, what's that word again? Oh yes, spicy. So in the words of Alejandro Romero, apologies if I butcher his name, I butcher a lot of names, who ran security in the building where two parties lived, he had this to say: I knew the nameless party to be a resident of Penthouse 3 in the Eastern. I saw this person for the first time in around July 2015, but I understand she was not a resident until around March 2016. My interaction with this person was limited to brief interactions about logistical matters in the apartments, including, for example, giving access to guests. From March 2015 onward, that nameless party was visited regularly late at night at around 11 p.m. to midnight by Mr. Elon Musk. For his initial visits, I would receive a call from the nameless party who would tell me to give Mr. Musk access to the garage for the building and then send him up to the penthouse. After he made a few visits, that nameless party provided Mr. Musk with his own garage remote and more to a certain penthouse. I believe he visited that nameless party a few times a week, and he would always visit when a certain other person, let's just call them JD, was not at home. Now, with regard to requested information, oh yeah, those dates, they're also present. You can see that right here. Now, from 2015 to 2016, many a thing hit the media, but a more recent development involved the model Cara D, when pictures of her entering the elevator, like so many others, going up to a certain penthouse, they came out. You also had a resident concierge save the trio. I saw them going up and down the elevator over and over again. And well, you can imagine the other stories that are attached to this. Now, to be fair, there was much denial over these stories. But if you look at the timeline for this stuff, yeah, the timeline that includes that stuff, it's in there too. Now, while that stuff is interesting, all of it, and I mean all of it, pales in comparison to what one Jennifer Howell had to say on the subject. Who is Jennifer Howell, by the way? Well, that was a best friend of a nameless party's sister, a certainly good friend of a nameless party too, and somebody that felt aggrieved after certain statements came out in 2019, so they gave their own declaration. Now, amongst the stories that Jennifer Howell relayed, one of them involves a nameless person's mother. I'm going to refer to them as mother from here on in. Quote, Mother shared with me while I was visiting the nameless person's sister that Elon Musk had gifted a Tesla or multiple Teslas, not sure if it was one or more, but this nameless party found out that they were quote-unquote bugged. The mother told me that the nameless party said that Elon was controlling, let's just say he was accosting, I have to change the word there, and that she was in a legal battle with him over the rights to embryos that they had together. He wanted them destroyed, and the nameless party tried to keep them to have a baby. The nameless party also said that JD was either an angel or a saint compared to Elon, and she wished that the nameless party and JD would reconcile. Now, as far as Jennifer Howe's concerned, you and I, we don't know the dates surrounding those events, and to be fair, all of that, it's just accusation at this point. That being said, there are 22 specific dates that are spelled out in this document asking for Elon Musk to turn over everything. And when I say everything, I mean look at this list. I won't go everything here, but look at this. Including, but not limited to, notes, memoranda, videotapes, affidavits, statements, papers, files, forms, data, tapes, printouts, letters, reports, communications, contracts, agreements, telegrams, freaking telegrams. I mean, basically, it's everything, including the smoke signal, considering it's not limited to. Now, another fascinating little tidbit about this is it doesn't just ask for information here. It asks him to come, sit down, and be deposed. And that's going to be the fascinating thing. Why? Because we've never, ever had him had to sit down in the hot seat. Oh no, he's been able to go out, give you 280 characters snark online, but he's never actually had to answer any questions. And that'll be fascinating. So bravo for being the second richest man out there. I'm curious what other things are out there too, but you let me know. Do you think this kind of stuff, it's good for him? It's bad for him? It can damage in any way? I'm curious. And as always, too, let me thank you for showing up. Let me thank you for listening to me talk about this stuff. I find it particularly fascinating, but I'm curious how you see this stuff, too. Also, if you want to help out the channel, there are many, many ways to do so. We have quite a few links out there, including our luscious comic book. Check that sucker out. But you being here, I appreciate the heck out of you. So, thank you, and we'll see you soon.